What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, family and friends, neighbors and sports fans? I am the Sports Judge. Thanks for dropping in. Welcome to my sports channel. Should Alabama be in after today's win over Georgia? I mean, it's a hot debate. Everyone's going to be talking about this. You're going to hear about this all day tomorrow. I don't know how you jump from number 8 to number 4 and secure a spot in the college football playoffs. But if there's one team that could possibly do it, it's Alabama. Alabama wasn't that great, and the SEC sucked this year. Georgia wasn't as good as we thought they would be. The logic is Alabama over FSU. If FSU lose to Louisville in the upset, it's definitely going to be Alabama. Alabama just beat the number 1 team in the country. Florida State benefited from an easy schedule. You can make that argument. College football could send a message that scheduling harder games will get rewarded. Look, this Alabama versus Texas debate is going to be intense. If only we could have these two teams play against each other to see who's better. I mean, I'm all down for that. We will be able to see if Texas is for real or if Alabama's for real. That would tell you a lot more about these teams. Georgia was thought to be unstoppable, a 29-game win streak, back-to-back national titles, and a number 1 ranking to its name. Seemingly, the whole college football world believed the Bulldogs would walk into Atlanta and continue to destroy Alabama and continue to reign supreme in the SEC and win a 3rd consecutive title. Didn't happen. Alabama proved them wrong. Alabama was simply the better team. Alabama lined up across from them and took care of business. The number 8 Crimson Tide won the SEC championship on Saturday, defeating the Bulldogs by a final score of 27-24. Alabama fell behind 7-0 after Georgia scored on its opening drive, but from there, Alabama's defense stepped up in a massive way. I was surprised to see Alabama defense play the way they played, and Alabama's defense clearly sent the statement today. Alabama scored 17 straight into overtime, or halftime, and was able to stave off the Bulldogs for the final 30 minutes to secure the win. Quarterback Jalen Milroe was remarkable, didn't have his best game. I guess I shouldn't say he was remarkable, but still made plays when it mattered to lock up the victory. That made him look remarkable and bring Alabama home some hardware. He completed 13 of 23 passes and threw 2 touchdowns, amassing 193 yards. Now all eyes turn to the college football playoffs, the selection committee, what they're going to do. It's nearly impossible to argue Alabama isn't one of the 4 best teams in the country. I really don't know. I really don't want to see Alabama in there. I mean, I know you have the SEC bias, and people are saying they should be in there, but we will have to see where the rest of the chips fall by the time the committee selects the 4 participants in this year's playoff. The selection show airs tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. I won't be around for that. I got a kids' party to attend to, but I'll do my best to try to provide coverage and bring some content. But until then, Alabama can enjoy being crowned the 2023 SEC champions. And I did a video before the game saying, could they possibly upset Georgia? And they did just that. They did just that. I mean, it just looks like Alabama was clearly the better team. Alabama had this one. Jalen Milroe, again, wasn't at his best, but did enough to pull out the victory. Just was clearly the better team. Georgia didn't look good throughout the day. They had trouble slowing down Alabama. They had trouble stopping Alabama, and the Crimson Tide was able to move the ball. particularly in the second half. Georgia moved the ball down the field fast, but you know they were held to fourth and goal from the 1 yard line, I believe, late in the game. Huge plays, from Alabama. Alabama just was clearly the better team. And Nick Saban, he prepares his team for moments like this, right? His teams are prepared the right way coming into big games like this. And that's what you saw. That's exactly what you saw, And I mean, Williams, gave Alabama a massive touchdown. Alabama took a 10-point lead, and it just seemed like Georgia couldn't break that 10-point deficit, right? They couldn't cut into that 10-point deficit. It just seems like they couldn't get over that hurdle, and Georgia couldn't find a way to get back in the game. Alabama, man, they made the right plays when they needed to, but I was more impressed. If anything, I was more impressed with Alabama's defense, because I was talking about how this team struggled to stop the run. They didn't have their best defense that we've seen in recent years, because Alabama used to be able to stop the run, right? Alabama used to have a top-notch defense, right? They used to have one of the best defenses in the country. That wasn't the case this season. It was just a lot different. So Alabama, man, they did what they needed to do to win the game. Now we got to sit back and wait what the committee says about them. Alabama led 2010 at the end of the third quarter. Georgia, had the ball, I believe, on their own 39-yard line. Alabama gets stopped after a Burton drop in the end zone. But, of course, their kicker nails the field goal to give Alabama a 2010 lead. Alabama recovers a fumble off a missed hand exchange, and it's former Bulldog Marshall who recovered it. Milroe gets sacked, I believe. But on the replay, it looked like he wasn't down. Alabama has to punt because of it and pins the Bulldogs inside the 10. On third and long, Burton makes a massive catch to move the chains. Alabama knocks down two back passes and forces a Georgia field goal. Huge stop, but the Bulldogs cut the lead to 17-10. Then you had Kool-Aid McKinstry, who went down with an injury. That was a big loss, but just walked off under his own power. Beck dials up a deep shot to get Georgia down inside the Alabama 20. Every possession of this game felt so incredibly weighty, right? Like, it felt so incredibly important. Big time game between two great teams, and it just felt like it for the entire game. Georgia makes a stop of its own, and it's game on now, But again, the difference in this game was the Alabama defense. Alabama's defense makes a huge statement with huge stops. You love to see the growth in Jalen Milroe. He drove the field twice when it mattered most, from his left, from his right, and in front of his face. Jalen Milroe had defenders closing in, the pocket shrinking into a straight jacket. Alabama, the team on his on this 20-year-old shoulders, needed a first down in the fourth quarter of the SEC championship game Saturday to bury Georgia with a touchdown. Instead of giving it late life with a field goal, So look, Moreau hung in there, right? He scanned the field in Georgia territory at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, right? And while those defenders reached for him, he flipped a pass to Isaiah Bond, the ball landing softly in the wide receiver's waiting hands. 3 plays later, 8th-ranked Alabama scored that touchdown to extend its lead to 10. And that was it. 27-24 win that snapped number 1 Georgia's 29-game winning streak. My question to you guys is, should Alabama be in the college football playoffs? Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you guys think. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate y'all.